Welcome to the DX Today podcast, where you get facts and no hype.
Glad to be here, Derek. And today we're looking at something that affects every single person listening, the way we get hired. We've all felt it. The job market has been shifting for a while, but according to the latest research, 2026 is officially the year the old rules died.
Died might be an understatement, Chloe. It's a complete paradigm shift. For decades, recruitment was a rearview mirror exercise. You looked at where someone went to school, what titles they held, and how many years they sat in a chair. We called that experience. But the 2026 data shows that experience is no longer the gold standard. It's been replaced by readiness.
Readiness. It sounds like a buzzword, but the report from the From Experience to Readiness research actually breaks this down into some very technical, very specific pillars. It's not just about being ready to work.
Precisely. The report defines readiness through three core pillars. First is skill provenance. We aren't talking about proficient in Excel on a resume anymore. We're talking about verified technical capabilities through real-world assessments. Second is cognitive agility, the ability to unlearn and relearn at the pace of tech. And third, AI-fluency.
Let's stop there for a second. AI-fluency. Does that just mean knowing how to use ChatGPT?
Not at all. And that's a common misconception. According to the research, AI fluency in 2026 means AI readiness, the specific ability to work collaboratively with autonomous agents. It's about the human-machine partnership, not just being a user.
That makes sense, especially when you look at the historical context here. If we look back to just a few years ago, the CV, the resume, was the gatekeeper. But the Willow Hiring Trends report for 2026 shows a massive decline there. Only 37% of employers now actually trust a candidate's learning history or credentials as a reliable indicator of talent.
It's a crisis of trust, Chloe. Resumes are easy to polish, and with Gen AI, they're even easier to fake. That's why we're seeing this explosion in skills-first hiring. LinkedIn's data from the last 2 years is staggering. They found that a skills-based approach increases the talent pipeline by over 6 times globally. If you're looking for AI-specific roles, that jump is 8-fold.
8 times. That's huge. And it explains why we're seeing the degree requirement disappearing. I saw in the report that over 53% of global employers have officially scrapped degree requirements for technical and professional roles. That's a majority, Derek.
It is. Hired AI and LinkedIn both confirm this. The focus has shifted to verification through simulation. Companies like Test Gorilla are reporting that 76% of employers are now using pre-hire skills tests. They aren't asking you what you did at your last job. They're giving you a task and saying, show us you can do it right now.
And the result of that?
An 88% reduction in mishires. It turns out watching someone actually do the work is more effective than talking about the work for an hour. Who would have thought?
Right? It seems so obvious when you put it that way. But let's get into the how. The report talks about the AI-driven recruitment lifecycle. And there's a term in there from Korn Ferry that I loved, the human-AI power couple.
It's a strategic shift. We've moved past AI as a simple back-end tool. In 2026, AI has become the intermediary. Nolan Church, the CEO of Shortlisted, points out that roughly 90% of sourcing is now automated. AI agents are scanning 800 million professional profiles globally. They aren't just looking for keywords, they're doing semantic skills mapping to find passive talent.
Wait, passive talent? So people who aren't even looking for jobs?
Exactly. The AI identifies people who have the readiness markers even if they haven't updated their LinkedIn in a year. It's proactive, and the efficiency gains are, well, they're hard to ignore. Glozo reported that AI-powered life cycles are 30 to 50% faster. Look at Unilever. They've managed to reduce their time to fill for early career roles by 90%.
90%? That's the difference between a month of waiting and a few days. But there's a flip side to this, isn't there? The report mentions candidate AI. If recruiters are using AI to find people, candidates are using AI to fight back.
It's an arms race, Chloe. Candidates are now using candidate agents to mass apply to hundreds of jobs and optimize their profiles to bypass filters. This has actually created a weird countertrend. Because recruiters are being flooded with AI-generated applications, they're moving back toward high-friction assessments.
High friction? You mean making it harder to apply?
Exactly. In-person meetings, live video-based readiness assessments, real-time problem-solving. Things an AI agent can't do for you. It's the only way to verify that there's a real human with real skills behind the screen.
That's fascinating. It's like we've gone so far into the digital age that we're circling back to needing that face-to-face confirmation. But let's talk about the why behind all this. Why the urgency? The report mentions a talent shortage paradox.
This is the part that should keep CEOs up at night. Even with all this automation, the Manpower Group Talent Shortage Survey shows that 74 to 76% of employers still can't find the talent they need. IT, healthcare, green energy, the gaps are massive.
But if we have AI doing the work, why is there a shortage?
Because of skills decay. This is a critical technical detail from the World Economic Forum's 2025 report. They estimate that 39% of worker skills, nearly 4 out of 10, will be outdated by 2030. The half-life of a skill is shrinking.
39%. So basically what you know today is losing value while we're sitting here talking.
Precisely. And that's why readiness is the metric, not experience. Experience is a record of skills that might already be decaying. Readiness is the measure of how fast you can pick up the next 39%.
Which is why the report says 80% of employers are shifting to internal mobility. If you can't find the talent outside, you have to build it inside.
Gartner calls these internal talent marketplaces. Instead of hiring an expensive external candidate, HR leaders are using AI to find hidden readiness in their current staff. Maybe your marketing manager has a latent aptitude for data science that hasn't been tapped yet. The AI finds that, and the company reskills them.
It's like a giant game of organizational chess. And speaking of organizational structure, the 2026 landscape looks a lot more decentralized. I was looking at the section on fractional and gig integration.
The agility premium, as Deloitte calls it. We're seeing a massive rise in fractional experts. These aren't just freelancers. These are high-level experts who provide niche readiness to 3 or 4 different firms at the same time.
Right, and the tagged report says this is now a core pillar of hiring. It's not an afterthought anymore. If you need a specific type of AI implementation readiness, you don't hire a full-time executive for $300,000. You hire a fractional expert for 10 hours a week. It allows firms to scale their readiness up or down instantly.
It's a lean model. If you look at the KPIs in the report, the numbers tell the whole story. In 2024, skills-based hiring was at 56%. In 2026, it's at 85%. AI use in talent acquisition went from 43% to 87% in just 2 years.
And the talent pool expansion? That LinkedIn stat we mentioned, moving from 1x to 6.1x just by switching to a skills-first lens, that's probably the most hopeful stat in the whole report. It means there are millions of capable people who are being ignored because they didn't have the right degree or the right title.
It's more inclusive, yes, but it's also more demanding. The readiness imperative means the burden of proof has shifted. You have to prove it every single day.
So, Derek, as we wrap this up, if you're a recruiter or a job seeker listening to this, what's the no-hype bottom line?
The bottom line is that the human-machine era is no longer a future prediction. It's the current operating system. For recruiters, the challenge is balance. You have to let AI handle the data, the sourcing, and the initial screening, but you have to double down on human judgment and empathy to build a culture people actually want to work in.
And for the candidates?
Stop focusing on your past titles. Start focusing on your provenance. Collect evidence of what you can do. Stay AI fluent. Because in 2026, it's not about where you've been, it's about how fast you can get to where the company is going.
From experience to readiness. It's a total shift in mindset.
It is. And it's the only way to survive a market where 40% of what you know today won't matter in 5 years.
On that sobering note, Derek, thanks for breaking this down.
Anytime, Chloe.
And thank you for listening to DX Today. We'll be back next time with more facts and no hype.
See you then.